I would not be surprised if Dell were sending a hit squad out on me. Why? Well, they probably want their laptops back. Had these for a couple weeks now. These are the Dell 14 Premium 2025 models. And boy, oh boy, are they premium. They sent over 2 of them with 2 different configs. This is one of them here. This is the dark graphite model. This one here is the light silver model. They're 2 different configs. We'll just open up this one. What are the differences between them? Yada yada, we'll get into the video. Essentially, they sent over this one here, which has Nvidia graphics. They sent over this one, which does not have Nvidia graphics, so I can compare the 2 of them. What we're looking at here is incredibly premium. This is like 10 out of 10 premium. Like, just holding in your hands, you know, like, okay, if you pick one of these up, trust me, you're gonna know. If you don't want to just, you know, pick it up online, go to like a Best Buy or something, walk in, and if they have this on display, just pick it up and be like, oh, it's so nice. Super premium laptop, very thin, no corners cut. Dell just made, I mean, this is their successor to the XPS, so they're not going to make something, you know, cheapo over here. They know that this is a serious model for them. So let's jump in here and we'll talk about it. So here is the Dell 14 Premium. It's the XPS. If you know the Dell XPS 14, that was the previous generation. This is the, you know, it's the new model, and they changed their naming around for it. I did really like last generation's Dell XPS 14. I played around with the Core Ultra 1. They have updated it, of course. So you now have the Intel 255H right here. Absolutely my CPU of the year. My daily driver laptop is actually basically very similar to this laptop. It's a 255H processor with 14.5 inch screen, etc., etc. And I just actually retired it. But this is exactly what I love to see in a laptop. This is my kind of spec here. 255H is an incredible CPU. It gives awesome upper level performance. You'll see that in this video, of course. It also does give really good battery life. It's very efficient at low watts, but it can also perform at high watts. They also do get paired with Intel Arc 140T graphics, which you can do gaming on them if you care. If you want to do some casual gaming, it's good. It's actually very good. But more importantly, when it comes to things like professional work, video editing, that kind of stuff, I've been doing most of my video export for the past 6-7 months on this chip here, and it's very fast. It's very fast. It won't match dedicated graphics, but it's very good nonetheless. You do get 32 gigabytes of RAM, fast memory, of course. This is kind of an optimal screen size, in my opinion, 14.5 inches. 14 can be, it's good, but it can be a little small. Of course, 15, then it's a little bit more unwieldy. 14.5 doesn't feel constrained on the OLED there. So if you're doing, you know, very high level pro stuff, specifically graphic design, video editing, that kind of stuff, where you can benefit quite a bit from the screen real estate, of course, the 3.2K is the premium option. 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. Amazing, right? You're going to get 3 ports on this thing. You can run docks, eGPUs, all kinds of stuff here. Decent sized battery, fast Wi-Fi. What else do you want? And of course, you can get these pre-cooked ones here, or you can go into the customizer. Dell, I was going to say, they always have deals, these hot deals. I mean, these prices are fair. As we know, we're in RAM apocalypse right now, and like 32 gigabits of RAM is like actually $300 American. It's like 400 Canadian dollars. It's crazy right now. So, I mean, you may look at this and be like, oh my God, you're paying $200 more. And it's like, well, you're actually getting that below market value, to be honest. How much this should be more expensive, because you of course get the 4050 as well. So lots of options here. You can spec it out. You can go with either screen, right? Your choice, pick what you want. Come into the Dell website too. And they also often offer, you know, there's like coupons, that kind of stuff, like sign up coupons. If you haven't bought with them before, you can often put in your email and get like a sign up coupon. So yeah, I sound like a salesman all of a sudden. I'm just telling you what I do. Anyways, let's jump in and look at the laptops. Now, this is, of course, an example of if you know, then you know. These are always very lovely premium laptops. You can see I've been playing with this one for some time, and the fingerprints are not that bad on the dark one here. I'm always concerned about, you know, dark, like that doesn't show any fingerprints, of course, but that's always a concern for me with, generally speaking, with darker colored laptops is fingerprints. However, I usually find that it is the matte ones, like a matte black type thing, or very, very, very dark matte type gray, where the fingerprints they're just like bad. They're just bad. Here we don't have that. You just give it a quick spray. This thing I've been playing with this thing for like 2 weeks now. Dell's like, give it back. I'm like, never. It's mine now. You know, and you give it a quick wipe down, the fingerprints are gone. So that's nice. Very good. Very premium. It doesn't matter which one we show. Which one will show up easier on camera? Maybe the light one? Anyways, look how beautiful that is. I'm biased. I mean, the dark graphite is a lovely thing. It does look very premium. But look at that. I show my bias. I like light electronics. Super premium, of course. These Dell I mean, the name is Dell Premium. So they were like, let's get rid of the Dell XPS. Let's go with Premium, because they are premium, are gorgeous machines. They feel fantastic in the hand. If you pick up, like, we'll do the Mac comparison. Grab yourself a MacBook Pro, and, you know, they feel very nice, very good hardware. This is that level of premium, like exceptional premium. I actually find these to be, in many ways, cases better, and we'll show that during the video. And then, of course, you don't get limited by, you know, garbage OS that is Mac OS. I'm sorry, I do not like Mac OS, and I don't like the Mac, like the Apple way of making storage and that, like, non-upgradable and costing a effing fortune. But this is just such a beautiful laptop. Down firing, intakes there, exhaust over here, right? It's just beautiful. Little rubber feet. They're just refined. They're just refined looking laptops, right? Super nice. Open it up on the inside. And it just feels, by the way, it feels super premium in the hand. Like when you pick this thing up, it feels incredibly dense. It's not heavy. It's not light because it is metal, right? Like it's a metal laptop, but it feels dense and super premium. As you'd hope, as you'd want. That's what you'd want. These are Dell Premium, right? It feels nice. Inside here, of course, very premium as well. We'll get into the screen in a minute, but you can notice that it is not a glossy mess, right? There is a reflection there. That's the light. But these things handle reflections exceptionally well. Dell does not screw around with screens on these laptops. It's very nice. Very small bezels, that's there. Of course, we do have this premium. I don't know how to describe this material. It's soft touch, some type of polymer that's soft touch. Almost like if you get into like $1 million vehicle, like a car that's worth $1 million, and you touch the dashboard, you're like, oh man, that's nice. That's how this feels, like legitimately. It's not plastic, it's not rubber. I don't know what it is, but it's super premium. It's even on the speakers here. Of course, you do have your haptic. You have your touch controls up here embedded. Touchpad you can't see here. It's a haptic touchpad underneath, so you don't have plunging. I like haptic. It's obviously very nice. And then you get this. I don't know how to describe this type of keyboard either. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a Roman road on the way to Britannia or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I just like it. And I always was worried back in the day about like typing accuracy on this type of keyboard, but the keys are actually very large and I don't have issues with it. It actually becomes very nice. So very premium, just a lovely looking laptop, right? Ports, these guys do focus on, you know, thinness. They don't have all kinds of ports on that, you know, HDMI and that, but you get three US Thunderbolt 4. So you get 2 on that side there. You get 2 on this side, 1 on this side here. You do still have an SD card. These things do very much cater towards professionals. So people who would have things like a DJI right here, do your work, pop your SD card in there, whatever. And you do get dedicated headphones. So it's not like port, like agnostic. It actually has good ports. It just doesn't have a USB-A port. But you can run incredible amounts of docks off of these things. 3 Thunderbolt 4, like each one of those can support something like this, right? With loads of ports on it. You can get bigger ones than this. You can run NVMe closures with extra storage. I don't even know where mine is. It's off camera. Over here, you can massively expand the storage on these things. Fast storage. You can run an eGPU if desired. Like there's an eGPU. This supports Thunderbolt 4, USB 4, and I could just run that in here as well if I needed it. So it's just, you know, it's just nice to have so many Thunderbolt 4 ports. So let's jump in. I will use both during this video and I'll show both of them, but I kind of want to have them both set up because they look so nice. Both of these are very easy to get into. You just take out the screws and they have a metal bottom. Get yourself one of these, pop it in. Just take your time along the back and it pops off. And because they're metal, they have rigidity and you don't feel like you're going to break it. Again, metal bottom with some structural stuff in here, some coverage for to basically keep heat from just sitting directly into your skin. Very good. That's the one there. iGPU. Here's the other one here. DGPU. And you can see there is actually a interesting setup difference here. That's surprising. I guess it's just chip layout, right? So we'll see how they perform in terms of thermals under full load when both are being utilized. They're both very thin laptops, but I do expect them to run well overall. Generally speaking, I find that Dell does tune their thinner laptops well. They don't kind of just let them go crazy like some brands. Inside, we have 70 watt-hour battery. Very good. I mean, there's not really much room to put a larger battery. That's about as much as they could pack in there and still have things like speakers inside. With this Arrow Lake CPU, that will give you very good battery life. Just be aware. This is not Intel of yore. This is Intel of now. So we're going to get good battery life. I can guarantee it. Reasonably decent speakers. They're going to be down firing out of that area over there. those slits in the side. And these should have pretty good sound as well. They're the higher wattage variant. One NVMe slot on both, so you're not going to get dual NVMe slot. There's not a lot of room in here, so it's okay in this case. We're going to open this up here and just see something. Comes with a nice metal heat sink on it, so that'll help keep it nice and cool. Yeah, so they have an adapter 2230 with a full-size adapter, so you can put in a 2230 or a 2280. You'll be fine in either way. I'm going to check it for dual-sided NVMe safety. I just realized my dual-sided NVMe is actually inside of a system that I am currently testing. So, oh, there's tons of room in there for a dual-sided NVMe. You'll have to take off this little pad here. Just try to do this without wrecking their thermal pad. Sorry, Dell. This is the name of the game. Yeah, there's lots of room in there. So it will support dual-sided NVMe. You love to see that. That means that while you don't have a dual NVMe setup, you're going to be able to get 8 terabytes regardless. So the non-dedicated graphics model over here, this is the Intel 255H. This is a lot of cooling for a 255H, honestly. 3 heat pipes setup. Reasonable thickness, not beast, but reasonable thickness, reasonable size fans as well. Again, not the biggest fans, but reasonable size for what they are. And you have good VRM coverage and all that, where we have the heat pipes running over both chips. So we have chip 1, chip 2, and so it actually shares it, obviously. So you actually do get a couple less heat pipes, which you may be like, damn, that's a problem. However, the fans do appear to be a little bit more robust. The actual chamberage of the fan is larger on both of them, actually. So the actual fan itself might be the same size. However, there's more chamber here, so there's more air to physically move out. So it should still run relatively cool. And again, this is not, a 100-watt CPU with a 100-watt GPU or something in a thin laptop. It should be fine, to be honest. So, and then it's slightly even more, obviously, cooling as well, because we also have VRAM to be cooled here too. So I look pretty good inside. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. They're packed as they could possibly get. They'd have to sacrifice something to add more, so they're doing a pretty good job up here. Overall, looks like they have these things pretty dense inside. I guess it doesn't really matter which one I type on, they feel exactly the same. So let's just go for this one here, because why not? Now, it does have this kind of, I don't know how to describe it, where they're not separated, like you don't have island. Here, just grab this keyboard here. You don't have like an island style keyboard, right? Like this is just whatever, Logitech thing. And you can see there's space between it. They don't do that. They have them with very minimal space between them. However, the keys are physically larger, like the actual diameter or whatever. The area is much larger, which does allow the keys to be fairly, I guess, confidently pressed. You'd have to still go over quite a bit to accidentally hit the middle ground, which you should be typing in the middle anyways. It doesn't take long to get used to it. It might take you a minute or two to get the hang of it, but that's fine. And they're not physically large keycaps, like the actual keycaps are not large, but there is a decent amount of travel, like fairly decent, to be honest, like you can see right there. If you were to compare this to, for example, a MacBook, I don't like MacBook keyboards at all. I find them to be very shallow. The travel on them is very, very shallow, and I don't like them. They're snappy enough, I suppose, but I don't like the lack of travel. Here, we have good travel. So even though it's a very thin laptop with a fairly low profile key cap, there's a lot of travel here, and they are very snappy. So let's give this a quick type here. We'll go like that. Yeah, so I could rip out an essay on this thing. I had a few little typos just getting the hang of it, but I don't have any actual typos. You can see there. I just fixed them. And I wasn't, it will take me a little while to get the hang of it where I can go even faster. I'm not the type to try to go for speed. I just type the way I type, and if it's fast, then it's fast. But I mean, I've typed bazillions of words in my life, literally. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely use this on a daily basis, and I would enjoy using it on a daily basis. The keycaps themselves are very nice to touch. They have that very premium feel that I described earlier, and they're super snappy, and they have a nice sound to them acoustic. So this is a very nice keyboard. Just be aware, I mean, it's not dedicated gaming laptop, so you're not going to get, their function macros up there easy where you can just quickly bang out those things. You have to actually come in and, oh, I didn't do that very well. You can actually hit the function key, and then you can see that swaps, right? See that there? And it looks the same over here. I guess it's a little bit easier, more contrasted over here, but I don't have any problem reading that or that. So that's good. And then you can come in here, you can get your function keys. Of course, if you hit function escape, it's going to lock it in the reverse, right? But anyways, so you have here your things like brightness up, brightness down, keyboard backlighting, which you can turn on and off, volume up, volume down, that kind of stuff there. Now the trackpad you can't see. Let's put it that way. You can't see the trackpad. It's haptic. I love a haptic trackpad, meaning it has a motor. If you've used a MacBook, you know how that is. What else has haptic trackpads? The Steam Deck has haptic touchpads where they go, and a lot of controllers have haptic feedback, like gaming controllers. This is the same here. There's an actual motor underneath here, or maybe more, I'm not sure, but there is motors under here. And so when you actually click, there's no plunge, like there's no plunging mechanism. This actually makes a little haptic vibration. Sounds like a normal trackpad, and it is very sharp and snappy as a result. It also means it's more consistent, right? You're not going to be clicking on different areas of the trackpad and finding that it's like gooey in one area. It's not overly loud, and the haptic response is quite nice. It's one of the better haptic trackpads I've ever used. It's very nice. Now the screen is, I mean, these are exceptional screens. They're the same on this. They're both the same model. These are very pixel dense, 3.2K by 2000. That's just shy of 4K. It's basically almost 4K. You're going to get extremely high pixel density at 14.5 inches. It's very nice. If you're doing professional stuff, as a result, you're going to be able to get a ton of room. Now, these are scaled up. We can actually put one in one and one in the other. You can come down here and you can see we're at 250 scaling. You can go down. I typically run a resolution like this on a screen of this size around 200. It's going to give you a ton of real estate for things, but the text does get smaller. Okay. We'll open up YouTube here, and I want to show you guys something. Now, it's kind of hard to show on camera because the camera might, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Now, this is an OLED screen. OLEDs are going to have fantastic blacks. They're going to pop off the screen. You do need to be aware, though, that glossy can be a problem, but this is not a true gloss. Let me actually get a laptop. Now, this here, look at those fingerprints. God. This is why this type of gunmetal saves the day. Like, look at this. I've been using this now for a few hours. It's like I started this video a while ago, and I've been using it for days behind that, and I've never wiped the inside here. There's actually fingerprints here. You can barely see them, and look at this. I've barely used this laptop. Anyways. But look at that glare. That's me, right? That's just me, just a mirror, right? So that's a mirror right there. So it's a full gloss screen. If you know me, you know I'm not a fan of full gloss. This is semi-gloss. It's not a full matte. Full matte can actually cause light diffusion. It can start to dull the colors down a little bit and not be great. These laptops here are definitely catering towards professional, so you don't want a full matte. You'll get the reflection a little bit, but it does take away from that quite a bit. When it's too reflective, it can also hurt your eyes because your eyes are kind of trying to go back and forth between the reflection that you're seeing and whatever's on the screen. So it can actually cause problems. So when you get a screen like this that's semi-gloss, semi-matte, right in the middle, they're fantastic. I really do love that. And you can see here I'll show you a trick. See if we go up here to that light. See, it has a bit of a blue hue to it. That's typically what you see when you get a semi-gloss or semi-anti-reflective coating. This is going to be a high color space screen where the reds are very vibrant, very, very vibrant. A lower color space screen would look orange, pink, whether it looks like that on camera, but this is a very red, vibrant color. Pause there. You can see the contrast now, right? We have very, very good blacks, and because also it's a semi-gloss, not just a full matte, these also look better. Mattifying, even on a black, can bring that down. It can get a little bit less crisp. Looks great here though. Of course, we do have very vibrant greens as well. Greens, when you're getting into these high color spaces, are also going to look beautiful. Very vibrant, very rich, very alive. A muted color space here, these greens would look almost yellow and kind of dead. What this means is that when you're consuming content, like watching shows, I mean, it's going to be amazing, obviously. Playing games, that kind of stuff, any consumption of content is going to be incredible on this laptop. However, the other thing to consider here is that you may be producing content, either video type content, graphic type content. You may be doing mapping, cartography, you may be doing graphic design for a company. So having vibrant colors is important. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to push into those colors and represent it. And you may actually not see what other people are seeing. So you're producing something in the reds or greens, and when they get it, it looks different because they have a better screen than you. So you want to have something like this that is able to represent those colors properly. In the past, these XPS and now the Dell Premium have had very good audio for a thin laptop, and as you spec up the Dell and you get to the larger Dells, the audio scales with that. That's typically how they go. Let's see how this goes here with these relatively small speakers, but I do have high hopes. Watch your headphones here. Yeah, they're excellent. Holy bass on these things! What the hell? They've tastefully tuned the volume, so they're not blaringly loud. 80 dB is loud, like it's loud enough. You don't need louder if you do get the sound system. As a result, they're not like rattly loud at the top. Now, the actual sound quality here is exceptional. They have a ton of bass at the bottom. I'm surprised at how much bass these have for the size of those speakers. That's very good. Nice rich through the middle and the high, no hollowness, and nothing is over dramatic. Nothing sounds cheap or crappy. And I am very impressed with the bass on that. Let's turn this up again. There is a sound in this track that I've never heard before on a laptop. There's an underlying bass level here. I've never heard that on a laptop before. That's really weird. I've tested all kinds of laptops. Sometimes, the bass is too much. Like if you have a big bassy laptop, I have a Yoga 9i Pro behind me and like a MacBook, that kind of stuff. Sometimes the bass can be too much and it actually drowns out that sound. This is a very tastefully and well-tuned audio where the bass, there's a second bass track there and then it's not overly dramatic. It's not just a big thumper that just kind of cuts through that bass. These might be some of the best laptop speakers I've ever used in my life. These are very good. They're just exceptionally well tuned. Good job, Dell. Holy crap. So we'll do the primary, I guess, noise test on each because they do have slightly different cooling in that. We're in performance mode for both of them now. Let's start with the one here without the dedicated graphics and we'll see what we can get here. Okay. At idle, they don't produce any noise unless Windows has decided to do something stupid, so they're just silent. We'll see what we can get here. The initial wattage dump, okay, so it is getting a lot, 83. That's a big wattage dump there. That's good. I want to see that. That's a big turbo, and then it will, there it goes, it drops down. The fans will start to kick up, and the performance will drop off a little bit, but it should be performant even at those watts. Fans have kicked in. I do expect that it will be playing with throttling here, which is okay because we're in a Cinebench scenario where it's going to be throttling, boosting, throttling, boosting. That's fine for a thin laptop as long as the scores are good. Yeah, 18,000 for a thin laptop, it's not bad. Again, this is a scenario, people will look at that and be like, oh my God, it's throttling. It's okay, it's fine. These CPUs will not harm themselves. They will boost up as much as they possibly can. It is doing pretty well here, 54. Certainly not completely silent under full load, but this is indicative of, okay, you've compiled your code, you've done your coding for like days, and now you need to compile massive code or something like that. Like that's where you get into these type scenarios. Even when I do video editing, I'm not slamming my CPU at 100%. It's like, it is exceptionally uncommon. Wattage should be in theory the same, and the performance should theory be the same, but I don't know that for sure. Now the sustained load should be the same, but they might have tuned the CPU here to not do that, because we also have a GPU to contend with here, and you don't want the CPU doing 85 watts and all of a sudden the GPU is like, what's going on? And it just starves, right? We don't want to do that here. So there shouldn't be a big score difference, if anything. Yeah, it's, what was the difference there? 200? 300, yeah, 300, 350. So negligible performance difference. The fans on this are quieter though, which makes sense. They are larger fans. The dB is lower. And it sounds better. Neither of them are annoying under, daily usage. I've done all kinds of updates, Windows updates, BIOS updates, driver updates, yada, yada, yada. Neither of them have annoying fans by any means. Neither of them are loud under daily use. They're actually essentially silent under daily use. However, under pure CPU heavy load, this one does have better acoustics because it has, like, the fans have a better case chamber there. It's able to move more air as a result, and so it sounds quieter. Okay, so here's the video editor that I use. I'm sorry I don't use DaVinci Resolve and Adobe and all this other nonsense. I use just a program that works, and it works well. This guy here does also get updated, and it does support APU or NPU type stuff, meaning AI, local AI. It does work. Now, I've been editing on this CPU, this APU, this chip specifically for 6-7 months, and it does help actually. There's a lot of audio type stuff you can do. Bring those in. Now, this is a huge video, a 1 hour and 9 minute handheld video, 4K 60. Now what we'll do here, now there's gonna be no difference here. The CPU is gonna do it, but I'm just gonna show you guys just how effective these things are. You bring these down here, the video part's already processed. It's so fast, like that, the video is processed. I'm already able to scrub through, right? No problems there. And then it does a second, the audio works. Right, so very, very, very nice screen. Good speakers. And then you have access to, that's the NPU on the chip. Then you get access to the CPU part, which is the actual editing process, shadow files, this stuff I'm doing here. This is CPU bound. And then we get to the GPU stuff here, the iGPU and the dedicated graphics. Both work very well. I can guarantee you that, because the 140T integrated system here is going to be very good. However, if you want to export faster, yes, the dedicated graphics will help, obviously. Intel just has very evolved and efficient drivers and support and hardware support for things like video editing. You come in here, you can do Intel QuickSync, and trust me, it's very good. But I'd be happy with either these 4050 type encoding or the Intel 140T. They're both going to be very good. This is going to be faster, but this is going to be good too. Let's just cut, because I mean this is going really fast. This is not bad either, and we'll come back and just see what the end result is here. As we can see, it is faster, obviously, on the dedicated graphics, 248, 840 on the integrated graphics. That's pretty standard, I would say. Typically, when I'm exporting with the integrated integrated graphics, and I have a 2-stream, I usually have 2 4K streams going on most of the time, and it's not 1-for-1. If it's a 30-minute video, it'll take 20 minutes or something like that. If it's an hour-long video, it'll take, actually, usually it takes about 30 minutes as well, something like that. So that's pretty standard. Of course, if you are going to be doing video export and you're going to be doing a lot of video work, those NVIDIA graphics do come in handy here. I do have these set to studio drivers, which is something you should do as well. And that's just going to help quite a bit with that professional work. Again, if you don't need the dedicated graphics, don't feel that you have to get them. You can still do a lot with this over here. These are still very capable. You're still going to be able to do a lot with them. But just be aware that if you want to push this a little bit further, the dedicated graphics are definitely going to help here. Some engineering type stuff, GIS, that kind of stuff, it will help quite a bit. But obviously, if you don't do things like video editing, 3D modeling, that kind of stuff, then you don't need the dedicated graphics. You can just go with this here because you'll be CPU heavy, and the CPU here is very good in either case. Just quickly looking at some battery life here. This is the iGPU model. We're just hanging out here in Windows. Full brightness though, full refresh, all that kind of stuff, just hanging out. And you can see that we're burning around 5 to 6 watts, just hanging out. Based on the battery size, that will give you about 10 10 to 12 hours. Once you start actually doing things, it will jump up a little bit, but you're still going to get 10 hours. This is easy all workday, all school day laptop, and still with some to spare. No problems. Just to kind of test that, I went into some 1080p 60 YouTube, and yes, there's a slight jump in watts, but we're only at around 7, maybe 8 at most. So it's still going to give you 10 hours, no problem, of just watching YouTube. That's very good. These Arrow Lake 255H park very well. They sip power when they're not being, loaded up, and I have a lot of experience with the 255H, so this is indicative of how it would behave. And then just to prove that point that the battery life is going to be good, even on the Nvidia one, it does sleep the Nvidia graphics. So we can see here, Now, these are by no means gaming computers. I will show you that you can game on actually both of them. This is the RTX machine, so obviously it's going to do well, let's be honest here. Even though it's a 4050, 4050 is decent. I mean, it's got 6 gigabytes of VRAM, so you're going to be able to play with some settings. The 4K native screen is going to be too much for modern AAA titles, but, the vast majority of games ever made are not modern AAA benchmark titles, 2023 and before. You're going to be able to really crank it up. Games from like 2020, honestly, you will be able to actually play at full resolution, no problems. Stuff like this, though, I'd recommend you just throw it in like 1200p. And you can play with, like medium or high settings. We just put medium here, nothing fancy, and a little bit of scaling, just balanced. And it's going to run very well. I mean, obviously, it's when it comes down to it, even if it's a lower wattage, it's still a 4050. It doesn't matter. The nice thing about 4050 and that is they are very efficient GPUs. The 4050 does scale very well. So even if you do lower the wattages, it's going to be fine. And you can see here it's running quite well, actually. There's a little bit of a hitch when we first get some texture pop in, but very good. Right, play with the settings how you desire. A lot of modern AAA titles, as long as you're reasonable with the settings, like things like 1080p, you actually are going to get, a 60-like experience most of the time. Okay, so this is just going to prove to you guys that Intel, their iGPUs are very good now. This is Spider-Man. Let's turn that down. This is Spider-Man. We don't have the best settings. We're on XeSS balanced. XeSS looks amazing, and this has hardware level XeSS support, so you can actually turn it up, just so you know, and it will look better. Anyways, and we're on low settings here. We're not cranking it up. Again, this is a lower wattage. It's not the most powerful offering of these chips and that kind of stuff. And the Lunar Lake does have a slightly better iGPU, but let's get this going here. And I'm expecting reasonable, 30 FPS type thing. We can turn it down still. But yeah, I mean, it's doing very reasonable here. Okay, just turn it down here slightly. Now it's just all low. And oops, I just messed up. And yeah, you're going to be getting, in games like this, you're going to be getting 30. This is a very, obviously, fast, demanding game, Spider-Man 2. Games that are not quite as demanding as this are going to run better, obviously. A couple years old games, no problem. Games that are going to be running, like all the HD 2D remasters, all that kind of stuff. Those games are just going to fly. Demanding 3D titles like this, you're probably going to be getting around 30 FPS. That's kind of your target. You could do frame gen, you can do all kinds of stuff. Turn up the scaling even more. But generally speaking, you're going to be getting, like what people play on the Steam Deck, that kind of stuff. 30 FPS. Obviously, if this is a higher resolution than the Steam Deck. This is 1200p instead of 800p. And so it's just much more powerful iGPU than the Steam Deck, obviously. But I'm just saying, in terms of the gaming experience, you're looking at like, Nintendo Switch, 30 FPS kind of stuff, Steam Deck, 30 FPS kind of stuff, Xbox Series S, that kind of stuff. So you'll be fine. You'll be able to play. And I wanted to test a demanding title to really show the difference between the two of them. Obviously, if you want to do some gaming, you're going to want to get the Nvidia one, obviously. But if you want to get this one and you're thinking, I just want to do some casual gaming here and there, even demanding titles, you'll be fine, right? You'll be totally fine. I'm not noticing any weirdness here. This just feels like I'm playing on a Series S, to be honest. It's just totally fine. So there you go. Both good. Just one more good, obviously. And it looks fine. I mean, we're at 1200p with some scaling, so it's not going to be as crisp. But yeah, it's not bad by any means. Okay, so we're going to do the conclusions first. We'll do the negatives. Within context, I actually don't have any major negatives. Like, critiques, things that I'd be like, this is not good about the laptop. Every product has ups and downs, things that could be better or worse. I don't actually have any true critiques of this laptop. It's very premium, very, very, very premium. Excellent quality. The haptics here, this is all amazing quality. Screen is incredible. Having that semi-anti-gloss to just keep, where's it? There it is, to keep that reflection down. That would be a mirror on standard screens, to be honest. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic laptop. Excellent speakers, excellent screen, excellent keyboard. I mean, what else could they do? They couldn't do soldered RAM. There'd be socket RAM. There's no room. I don't think they'd have room for a second NVIDIA. Maybe a 2230 somewhere, and maybe they could put one in there, put a 2230, so you could run that for the operating system, and then a 2280 as a double, I guess. That's really it. I don't know what else they could change on this thing. The price for what it is fair. I mean, honestly, they can be expensive depending on which SKU you get, but they're not like unjustifiably expensive, right? So, I mean, if you need something that's going to be super premium like this, I mean, what else are you going to buy? There's not a lot. Honestly, there's not a lot on the market that's going to have this level of premium. It's just the way that it is. Between the two of them, I prefer the silver color just because it's completely resistant to fingerprints, but the dark one is also quite resistant. That looks worse on camera, but in person you can't really see it. It's a lovely little laptop there. I don't think you need the Nvidia graphics if you're just doing CPU heavy stuff, if you're a student, if you're doing that kind of stuff, business, coding, that kind of stuff. You just don't need it. You can also do some light gaming on the Intel graphics, no problem. Throwing in the 4050 is going to help a lot with things like video editing, of course. Again, you don't need it, you can do without. But if you are going to be doing a lot of video editing, the Nvidia graphics do help, obviously. If you're doing like engineering type stuff, CAD, anything like that, I mean, obviously throwing in a 4050, it's not a beast, but it's very efficient. So it is actually a good GPU, 6 gigabytes VRAM, and it's 40, and the 4050 is super efficient even at low watts. CPU here is incredible. 255H is basically the best CPU you can get right now in its segment. Amazing battery life on this thing, amazing speakers. I don't really have any problems with it. It's just a super incredible laptop. So, I mean, you could pay less and get a cheaper laptop. You could pay more and get something with a bigger GPU or something. But I mean, you're just getting a different product at that point. So what this is and what this represents, it is actually a fantastic laptop. Just check it out. Honestly, just go into a Best Buy and check it out. I think it's worth it. Honestly, I think these are fantastic laptops. If this is checking off the boxes of what you are looking for, it's going to be very hard to beat this laptop.